All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. We're gonna dive in. Got some things on the news front to take a look at, and then we'll start the session off with pairs you guys have your eyes on, you want to take a look at as we prepare for the upcoming day and the news that is ahead. All right, so real quick, just drop me one in the chat if you can hear me okay. Appreciate it. All right, let's hop over to trading economics. Interesting things coming out of the out of the Eurozone. um, so, excuse me. Eurozone faces recession and potentially a slight pickup in inflation. Economic activity in the euro area had a slight slowdown in Q3, and indicators signal a potential economic contraction in December, reinforcing the likelihood of a technical recession in the latter half of last year and a bleak outlook for the near future. ECB Louis D. Guindos stated. He also noted that rapid deceleration in inflation observed last year could pause early 2024. So, technical recession, right? Things are slowing down. However, potentially for inflation to level out, right? Instead of inflation continuing to come down in the short term, it could level out early this year and then see what happens going after that. So that's an interesting conversation. We see the back and forth data, some data coming out positive for the currency itself. But the economy is starting to see some contraction. Well, has been seeing some contraction, and we could continue to see that going forward as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things continue to move with the Eurozone as the data continues to bounce back and forth. Here you have Italian retail sales expand for the second month, right? So early on, you're starting to see some expansion out of Italy. French industrial output rises more than expected. So some interesting back and forth coming out of the Eurozone. Japan Nikkei hit near 34-year highs, jumped 2%. Scaling their highest levels in almost 34 years, with nearly all sectors participating in the advance. Those moves come as a rebound in technology stocks lifted the Japanese market, while easing inflationary pressures in the country countered bets that the Bank of Japan will have to normalize monetary policy settings soon. So the conversation is getting indecisive. Some of the data that's coming out is saying, hey, they don't have to rush. The Bank of Japan said, hey, we're not rushing, but investors want the Bank of Japan to rush. So it's an interesting narrative that's being created in the conversation back and forth coming out of Japan. But these wage negotiation conversations, they're ongoing and they're set to wrap up at the end of March. And ultimately, that's when we expect to see, or we think we'll see, some changes coming out of the Bank of Japan with those wages coming in line with the ability to come out of the negative interest rate territory. So something just keeping the back of our minds as we continue moving through the conversation this week. So that's it from report perspective. Coming over to Forex Factory, and we have Governor Bailey speaking at 9:15. Crude oil inventories 10:30. 10-year bond auction for the dollar. and then FOMC member Williams to speak. So these conversations, Governor Bailey, member Williams, those could be interesting today as we move through the day. So today we could still see another relatively slow day in the market, right? As everybody's looking for these CPI data that's set to come out tomorrow, right? CPI data and unemployment claims. Um, so that's where we are from a fundamental perspective. Any questions or anything that you guys have seen that caught your eye? Nope. All right. Um, all right, cool deal. So we'll take a look at the dollar, and then if you guys have any pairs you want me to take a look at, drop those into the chat for me, and we will dive through those. So we see here, right, the dollar consolidating, right, just moving sideways at that resistance level. Um, and we'll see what happens, what transpires as we move through the day to day, um, leading into tomorrow. All right, so not a ton happening right now, just a bounce back and forth, tons of indecision. Okay, questions on the dollar? No? All right, cool deal. Aussie Swiss dollar CAD. All right, let's take a look at that dollar CAD. Let's see, pushing up. Pushing up off the low. Let's see. So daily time frame, we came down to the support level into December, and we're pushing back to the upside. Right? Whoops. We'll leave that there. We'll take a look at what those numbers are in a second. But pushing long, right? Coming into 618 retracement level. We're sitting at 50% right now. If we continue north, get to the 61.8% retracement level at some point. Coming down to the four. There's your 80-20 scenario. This is taking its time. I don't know why I'm not in this one. But 80-20 scenario on the dollar CAD making its way to the upside. We didn't get an additional pullback to retest that zone. But we're headed north, right? Just shy of that TP1 level. That's actually been a pretty nice move. Pretty nice move. 136 pips. Yeah, that's been a really good move. So, pressing to the upside, we'll see if we get a pullback on this. We'll go down to the one and see what we have. But price is moving to the upside here. So maybe we'll get to this TP1 level before tomorrow, but see things are starting to slow down a bit, right? We're starting to kind of press sideways. So we'll watch and see how the market moves today. Coming down to the one. Let me see here. Fibs coming down. Yep, 80-20 on the 1 hour as well. End of December, boom. All right, we're through. I've tracked this off the 1 hour. We're through both TPs, just shy of the AB boundary there. So if we flip the fib and run it off the low, let's see where we sit. Got it. So here we are um, on the one sub fibs. We got a 50% retracement, right? We're pulling back now. Maybe we get another push to the upside to get to that matching the extension on the sub fib, take out the A, which will make this our capital AB boundary, and that'll put us through TP1 on the four. So looking at potentially more price moving further to the upside, uh, and taking out the A boundary on the 1 hour and getting us to the TP1 level on the four. So this has been a really nice move. Really nice move. We didn't get a pullback here that we were looking for, right? We had a shallow retracement right here on the sub fib. Price just continued to run to the upside, which is cool. We ended up getting a wick at the 382 level there. but continue to push long, right? So we're headed to the upside, and we'll see what happens as we get to 1.34, 1.348 range. So headed north there. That's what I'm looking for there on that one. And then we'll see if things can shift for the Canadian dollar at some point. Um, things are interesting coming out with the expansion of the conflict in uh in Gaza and in Israel. Um, there's a back and forth with the shipping going through the Red Sea, right? Initially, they halted shipping, then they started again, and you're starting to see that shipping slow down and come to a halt again as the conflict continues to intensify. Um, so we could potentially see that impact in oil. We'll see what the oil inventories are, but you see the inventories continue to tick up, which means there's more production coming from other areas for oil, but you also have those concerns through the Red Sea, which could then impact those shipments coming out. So that'll be interesting to see how that continues to impact the Canadian dollar as well. So, but that's where we are on the dollar CAD. Any questions?
Can you go down to your 15 minute?
15, yeah. Let's see what you're looking at, Joy. They're coming off the low.
I was looking at that last leg,
It's the
and
last push in.
yeah, I didn't make the play on it because of that deep retracement right there. Because I seen that it was in the sell zone on the 1 hour, and then the news coming up. So it's like,
Yeah, we might see this one push north.
okay,
Yeah, we might see this push north. Looking at a C to D move potentially here.
yeah.
Um,
But it
we
just
could
started
definitely see
taking
this.
off. Yeah, that candle. When I looked at it this morning, that engulfing wasn't there.
Yeah, you still had your consolidation here. This is still potentially a good entry on that.
Okay,
It's not too far out of the zone because you'll be looking for a trend line break anyway,
true.
right?
Yeah,
So
because
you got your
it should be
swing low to
pulling
form.
down.
There's your consolidation. So at the close of the candle, that'll be your trend line break anyway,
Understood.
right? So I like that idea as far as a push to the upside goes. On a CDB move, and that puts you in line with getting to that 382. Like I said, today could be kind of slow, right? So we could continue to see some back and forth there. Maybe that DXY continues to maybe push to the upside a little bit, but it's just ranging and consolidation. So, yeah. But overall, the bias is bullish anyway, right? Trying to get to that 382 on the four. So this would kind of put us in alignment with that. Make sense?
Yep, yep.
Cool deal. Appreciate you. Benny, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. How about yourself?
Oh man, doing good. Doing pretty good this
Awesome.
morning. No snow yet, so
No snow. We'll see
I
if we
can.
end up getting it. It's gonna be interesting to see.
I know, I know. So I'm happy we made it this far.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep, yep. Anything top of mind for you, bro? I know we're waiting on the data for tomorrow. But anything top of mind for you as we approach the day today?
No, man, that is it. Just waiting for things to break loose. You know, that's how it goes. As the U.S. goes, so goes the world right now with the dollar being the reserve currency. And this report tomorrow is going to be pretty important as we
Yeah,
uh as we start the year, and you can see how some things are just trickling along. That's exactly what everybody's waiting on. So
exactly.
it'd be interesting to see the type of movement we get on some of these pairs. Leading into tomorrow's CPI report. So that's it. You know, that's something I've had my eyes set on for, you know, end of the year, you know, coming into this year is that this CPI report on Thursday. So
Yeah, yeah. Cool deal. Appreciate you, man. Um, cool. So let's hop over to Aussie Swiss. Come back to that NASDAQ in a second. Aussie Swiss. So this one, we're range bound. We got daily support there. And you see we're trying to push north here. Bottom of the range. Maybe we make our way back to the top of the range here. Okay. Coming down to the 4. Not a ton doing, right? You see your range here. Overall, your fibs coming off the high like that. But we're just range bound, not able to break out to the downside. We're turning over at that daily support, trying to push back long. So we run a sub fib off the high. Let's see, yeah, still choppy there. Coming down to the 1. All right, here's our move here. We got a 618 retracement, not able to get to the D extension, push back to the upside. So headed back north. If we track the move back up, and this is where we sit on that move. So pressing back to the upside in the consolidation, see what happens. All right, we're pushing into, we got a shallow retracement, pushing into this 118, 127 zone here. Let's see how price responds. Do we get a consolidation and potentially a move back to the downside, at least in the short term? Something like that. Um, yeah. Let's see what happens here. This will be an interesting one. As things continue to bounce back and forth, right? These smaller waves, consolidation. We'll see if this gives us an opportunity here. Look for another push to the upside on that. What you think, Joy?
So when I seen the candle formation on the daily, I was just looking for a pullback area um to get in. So then that way I can play off the daily fib. But
Looking at a
because
move to the upside or downside?
to the upside.
Okay.
Um, but it was so I started second guessing myself. I seen this 80/20, and I just started second guessing myself because it was so choppy and whether just to
Yeah.
leave it on or ignore it. But typically, even when it's this choppy and I ignore it, I was like, I should have won with my first instinct.
But when in doubt,
Stay out.
stay out. All right. Stay
I
out. If you
did.
got any concerns about it, any questions about it, let it do what it's gonna do. You know
Yep,
what I
yep.
mean? And then as it evolves, if something becomes more clear to you, then you can take an opportunity, right? But if it's all over the place, hey,
And
no harm in letting that thing do its thing.
I guess my biggest thing, and I'm trying to re- get rid of the habit when I see those pin bars that big, and it's like when I seen that pin bar in the 1 hour, I was like, yeah, that's a strong pin bar off the support. It might
Hmm.
not come back. So yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. But uh yeah, I'm watching this one, right? It's clear that for me, right, it's in this range, not a ton doing. So I'm okay just sitting and watching this, right? Because you got back and forth, right? Overall, the range there, you come down to the 4. You got your fibs coming to the downside, but you got choppy here, and you're not. It didn't break out, and it's clear that that daily level is holding, right? And we're pushing back to the upside. So, and then on your 1, your fib coming down, right? All of this was super choppy, right? So for me, looking at this, I'm like, I'll let it do its thing, and we'll see if something develops later, right? Even with this sub fib 80-20, right? I'm okay with letting this one be.
It just amazed me how strong Chef is
Yeah, yeah,
because it really doesn't have any like sort of kind of strength, but whatever is holding. I mean, Euro was strong last night, and E Chef ain't nowhere.
yeah. So you got to remember too, right? After that last rate statement, they were um selling off their foreign currencies, so they're buying more Swiss francs,
That's right. I forgot.
right? So, and that the last currency report that came out earlier this week, I think, um, they still had quite a bit more foreign reserves. So um, that buying spree could potentially continue. So seeing this consolidation from that perspective kind of makes sense, right? Um, so it'll be interesting to see how things continue to evolve, right? They had some the CPI came in above expectations, so that could potentially shift things a little bit. And potentially give it a little bit more strength too, right? If they feel like they have to come in and raise their interest rates at any point, because some of that data is coming in higher than expected. So it's an interesting dynamic on that though, for sure. Yep, yep. All right, cool. Any other questions on this Aussie Swiss? Nope. All right, cool deal. Good morning, Christian. All right, so that's the Aussie Swiss. Let's go take a look at that NASDAQ.
Hey Ryan,
Yes, sir.
that 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 Euro Swissy that she mentioned though, it did on that 1 hour, it did it did break a down trend line though. You know,
Oh, it finally did. Yeah,
it's a Swissy pair. It's always, you know, choppy, but it did break it down trend line.
it did give us the break. You are correct, bro. Let's see. This is the Euro Swiss that we've been sitting in. The trend line's coming to the downside. We are slowly moving. Boom. On the to the outermost point of the consolidation, right? And there you see, starting to get some motion. Starting to get some motion. So yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Yep, it is moving to the upside. So on the move, slowly but surely. But that conversation with the ECB representative, right, where it said inflation could the the slowing of inflation could taper off, right? So that could potentially give investors a little different perspective that right cause a little bit of a push in some of these euros. So yeah, yeah, interesting conversation there. I was looking at a broker. Yeah, that's not surprising, Joy. A lot of times you'll see 10, 20, sometimes 30 pip differences in some of those. So the Euro Swiss is on the move, right? If you're still sitting in that, uh, continue to manage, right? Allow price to do its thing. So as we push further, you can start to slide the stop loss to a break even level, and then let it keep pushing. All right. Questions on the Euro Swiss while we're here? No? All right, cool deal. And before we go to that NZD, let's take a look at this Euro CAD because it's also trying to make a move. Still sideways, but we're trying to get a push to the upside here. All right, we shifted that trend line to the outermost point, right? Trying to push. We had a nice push here, pull back, consolidating a bit, and see if we can get another push to the upside to start breaking some of these highs and making its way to the upside there. So slowly but surely, we're getting somewhere potentially on the Euro CAD. So there's just another update there. So NASDAQ. We got an opportunity here, 80-20 scenario. So originally we were looking at the 4-hour time frame and that moved to the upside. All right. We had this fib coming to the downside here. We said, look out for a potential crown pattern. If we get a pushback to the upside, we got our retracement. What was that? That was 274 pips to the upside, right? So now we have an opportunity as price got to a high point. We got a 80-20 here on the 4, but it's more clear on the 1. All right, here we are. And you see price trying to push out of the zone now. So active 80-20 on the NASDAQ 100. Opportunity to play this back to the downside. TP1 is 247 pips. But if this crown pattern does play out, right, we could see an even deeper move on this one to the downside. So if the NASDAQ is your deal, opportunities that you trade, here you go. Boom. Wait on trend line break, swing high. Those additional confirmations, and you might have an opportunity for that move to the downside there. Okay. So that is the NASDAQ 100. Any questions here? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Take a look at these yens real quick. Sweet. Great work, Donette. Great work. She says she's in that one to the downside. Beautiful. NZD-JPY. This is one that we looked at coming out of the weekend. Made its move, right? We got to a 382 on that move down. And then look, we got the takeoff to the upside. Did give us a deep retracement. So for me, not an opportunity to take this to the upside, but we're in that C to D push now, right? We broke that B boundary, had a level of daily resistance. We broke above. We're coming back to retest. So look for this one to continue moving to the upside, all right? So those ABCD waves playing out one at a time. All right, playing out one at a time. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. All right, A, B, C, making its way to the D. All right, so beautiful scenario there. Making its way to the upside. So we'll watch and see, right, as the yen story continues to bounce back and forth. We'll continue to monitor that to see what transpires as things continue to push to the upside. Okay. So that's the NZD-JPY. Come back to the Aussie yen. Same story here, right? We're waiting on a swing high to form, but here we got a 7886 retracement. Boom, right? That 80-20 played out beautifully. 81 pips to TP2, push down, decision, indecision, decision, morning star pattern, morning star pattern, boom. Now we hit our TP level, 118. Now we're waiting on the swing high to form and our new AB boundary. Right. So another beautiful ABCD sequence, textbook. right? And then we'll see what happens. Do we get a double top scenario here, or do we move back down to the downside? So depending on where the swing high forms, that's not it. So if it were to be there, right, that 118, 127 zone comes in line with that daily resistance level at 97, 583. Okay. So we'll see how things develop, right? We'll love to see a swing high to form and then see that 80-20 develop right there in the zone. Okay. So we'll watch that and see what happens from there. But that's the Aussie yen moving as anticipated. Questions on the Aussie yen? No? Okay, cool. Ba, 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 ba. Pound yen, pushing to the upside, right? We didn't get a 618 retracement off this 1 hour. We didn't even get to the 382. It came just shy, right? But take profit level was hit. We placed it just before, and now we're pushing to the upside. So we're in that 118 and 127 zone. Still potentially opportunity for this to turn back over. We'll see what happens though. As we know, things are still back and forth with the yen. So this one could take that move and run to the D extension at 185, 572. Okay, so we'll watch that and see how it evolves over the next couple of days. But we could be, and we talked about this, right? With these moves, looking for those retracements and then continuations to the upside. So that one is doing its thing and moving to the upside. We'll see if it stalls out in the zone and gives us another move to the downside or not. Okay, so we'll watch that and see what happens. Questions on the pound yen? Oh, okay. Cool deal. Euro yen. Similar story, right? We got a 50% retracement. Beautiful move to the downside out of that off that 118 level. 180 pips to the downside. Now we're moving back long. So we'll see if we're able to break this daily resistance at 159, 124. Right? If we're able to break that level, the extension is in sight. If we stall there, double top, we'll look for a price to come back down to the downside there. Right? We know over on the larger perspective, we still have this daily 80-20 looking for it to play out at some point, right? So just depending on how deep this retracement in this yen goes off of that original move down, right? I think we could still potentially come up to around this 161, 162 range, right? If we're able to break that daily level, I wouldn't be surprised if price pushes into the 786, 86 range here before we get a move back down to the downside. So we'll watch that and see how that develops as well. But we got some work to do to get there, which would make sense. Okay. So that's the euro yen on the 4, right? We're at a 8-6 retracement level, and that's where that daily resistance level comes into play. So we'll watch and see how it goes. Okay. Questions on the euro yen? No. All right. And that euro GBP still doing what the euro GBP does, 80-20 here on the 1 hour. Right. We're trying to push out of the zone, right? Broke the cloud, pulled back. We got a bullish cloud ahead, right? So we could be ready to make this move to the upside. We'll continue to monitor this and see, but we're still sitting in that 118, 127 zone there. So not a ton doing. It's taking its time as we knew it would. So we'll continue to ignore it and allow it to just play around it. All right. So that's an update on the Euro GBP. Swiss yen pulling back, right? Here on the 1 is that 80-20 scenario. We push back to previous daily resistance level, 170, 239, right? We're still inside this down AB boundary on the subfib. We had 80-20 scenario here. on the pullback, right? And we're stalling out here. So if we're able to stay below 172.39, we look for this to turn back over and make its way back down to the downside to get us to that TP1 level. So we'll watch this and see how it develops and if it's able to stay below these levels, right? So we're still in the range here. We'll push back into that 118, 127 zone with that retracement there. Okay, overall, larger look, right? This is where we still sit, right? Still sitting at the highs here. All-time high, daily resistance, monthly resistance, all that. So I'm watching to see what happens, right? If we're able to stay below these levels. If we break them, then we got new all-time highs coming, right? Weekly time frame, here we are there, just shy of the 118, 127 zone. Okay, so we shall see over the next couple of days how this develops and if it gives us a true double top and makes its way back down or not. But a little bit range bound, if you want to call it that, right, on this pushback to the upside here. Okay, so that's the Swiss yen. Questions on this one? Nope. All right, cool deal. Update on the pound Aussie. That 80-20 on the 4 hour, 1 hour. 80-20 on the one here, right? Previous one didn't play out, got stopped out. Here's our second opportunity, right? We got our shallow retracement price pushed to the 118 and 127 zone, gave us consolidation. Then we got a break. Now we're pulling back. So look to see if this one can continue this move to the downside here, like so. Okay, so been a decent move so far. Finally got going late yesterday, right? And then gave us a pullback early morning. We'll see if we'll continue to the downside there. So beautiful scenario there. Looking for 111 pips to the downside on that one. Questions here on the pound Aussie. Nope. All right, perfect. Then take a look at that CAD Swiss since we looked at quite a few of the Swiss crosses. We're trying to get there. We're trying to get there. All right, here's your 4 hour. All right, that AB boundary pop in there. Okay. And that's where we sit. We're still sitting down here in this range, trying to push off the low though. All right. So we'll see if we can get some momentum and continue moving to the upside there. Okay. So that one is still range bound on the CAD Swiss. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's take a look at this Euro NZD real quick. I really would like this one to move back to the upside to give us a high price. But to see we're still trapped here. Right? Still trapped here in the range. Not able to go in either direction. But I'd love a high price, come back, potentially retest the support levels, and then give us a move back down. We'll see if we get that, right? Got daily levels to break through there. Coming down to the 4, we got to a 382. Not able to push higher than that. So continue to monitor this one. Nothing doing. Just wishful thinking here. We got a 50% retracement on the one. So if we get some momentum to the upside with the euro, right, would love to see that D extension get achieved. So we'll see what happens if we get a break out of that consolidation to the upside or to the downside there. Okay. Any other pairs you guys got your eyes on you want to take a look at? That's all I have on my radar as we wait for the data to move the market.
Actually, can you look at the USD mix?
Yeah, we could take a look at it. It's not one that I've marked up, but let's do it. Give me 1 second, everybody. Give me 1 second. My bad. Kid's alarm going off and I don't hear any movement. So dollar max. Dollar max. Let's see. Uh, let's do a top down on it and see what we got. All right. All-time highs. And all-time lows. Monthly support and resistance. All right. It has some questions while we're doing this, right? It has some questions in the community about support and resistance levels and what's meant by relevant support and resistance levels. And what's meant by that is support and resistance levels that are closest to price, recent, right? And then relevant are levels that haven't been broken yet, right? So we got support and resistance here, okay? And then we don't have to list all these. This is on a monthly time frame, so these are quite a ways away, right? But there we go, right? So close to price, the closest to price, right? And that haven't been broken yet. So those are the most recent and relevant support and resistance levels. Let me change these actually. So there we are there on the monthly time frame. And we'll narrow this in a bit as we continue to move down. But that's what we mean by that. So as you're marking up your charts, you don't have to place all of these ones that are extremely far away from price, right? Until price gets close to those levels, right? You can mark them for good measure and for practice, which is a good thing to do. But you don't need them because they're so far away from price, right? So we come down to the weekly time frame and we'll do the same thing. Boom, right? Recent and relevant, right? Recent closest to price, relevant haven't been broken yet, right? Because you can look back, you can look left, look in the past, and find those support and resistance levels as you're going up and down the staircase. But some of those are past levels that have been broken. Okay. So yeah. So we're coming right here, right? We're coming down the staircase. All right. Coming down the staircase. Boom. 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 Right? Well, that's not it. It should have come down to that level there. Right? So coming down the staircase. Oops. Carried away, carried away. There we go. Right? So as this is happening, these are your recent and relevant levels. Boom. So there's support and resistance levels. So as you're coming down, now previously, right, you did have support levels here, but that level, the support level that was here, right, or there got broken, right? Those, my mouse is tripping. Or here, right? Those levels got broken. Pushed down. Now we got a new level we had a new level of support there, right? That level got broken as well. So those levels, they're not relevant anymore, right? They may serve as resistance in the future, right? But we have new levels of support and resistance as price continues to move. Okay. So weekly here, boom. Resistance, resistance, oops. There we go. There. And now we have our support levels. So, all right. So done there. Let's go to the daily. Right. We're looking at area closest to price, right? So here we go. Now this level here, why is this level still showing as a level of support, right? We don't have a swing low completed yet. So we don't have a new support level for this to move to. So this is still technically the support level until a new swing low forms, right? We won't mark it. I'm not going to mark it, but this is technically still the support level until that swing low forms. I'm going to allow this lower level here to serve as my support. So there we go there on the daily time frame. Okay. Now let's take these off and I'm going to run the Fib off the highs. Boom. So here we go on the daily time frame, right? 80-20 scenario. Boom. Okay. Shallow retracement, 118 to 127 zone. And we got our consolidation. We took off to the upside, right? Missed the D extension, took off to the upside. Now we're pulling back. So does this weekly level of support hold? And do we get a move back topside? We'll see. Okay. I'm gonna run smaller fibs just to see where price is. So I took out the A there. Potentially a little bit more downward movement to come. 1644 maybe. Right. So we'll watch that and see what that looks like on the lower time frame. Okay, so that's the daily. Let's go down to the 4. We know we got 80-20 on the daily. Right. We'll run the fibs on the 4. Boom. Right. So that last leg down is what we're looking at here. We got a 50% retracement, price pushing to the downside. So maybe we get another push down, right? To get to that D extension on the 4 hour and that 1644 level. So we'll watch that as well as we continue to move. Boom. Overall on the daily, we know 80-20 scenario, right? But we could get another low price before we move back long. Okay. So that's the 4 there. Okay. So now let's go down to the 1 and see what we have there. We'll run these off the high as well. Boom. Similar story. 50% retracement, matching D extension is here. So moving down. So now the question is there an opportunity for potentially a high price to get back short, right? So we can run sub fibs off of these. We'll take these out. I can grab it. Take that out. And then just look at smaller waves to the downside here. So we got a 382 push there. Price push down, not able to finish the move. We pulled back. Zoom in on this. All right, we had consolidation here. We broke out of the consolidation. We pulled back, right? Probably have a smaller wave 80-20. Yep, 80-20 scenario. Shallow retracement, 118 to 127. Retracement. Okay, so we got a 618 retracement level there. Boom, we're consolidating. So is this an opportunity for price to turn over and make its way down? Right? Smaller wave sub-fib, but we know overall we could be looking at price moving down 1644 before we get price to move back to the upside for a longer term scenario, potentially. right? So deep retracement on the sub fib coming to the downside. Okay. Opportunity potentially. Do we have any confirmation here? So let's watch this and see, right? Nice deep retracement on the fibs coming down. We got B boundary and price consolidating here on the sub fib coming up. So what I would like to see personally, right? I would love to see price to come into the zone. May not get it though, right? So my 80-20 scenario may not play out. But if you're trading 618s and deeper, right, that fib to the downside be an opportunity for you. Okay. So now we're looking for trend line breaks and continuations. Boom. Boom. Outermost point of the consolidation, right? Could have moved it through there, but price is still kind of moving sideways here, right? So we'll adjust that to outermost point like that. So if you trade deep retracements, that might be an opportunity for you. Place your stop outside the A, right? And look for your confirmations on the move to the downside. So we'll watch that and see. What are your thoughts, Joy?
Same thing, was looking for a pullback, for a move back up because of that, to see if that daily swing was on form.
Yeah. Yep. So I'd like to see price push a little bit higher. You have 80-20 scenario here, and then potentially that longer move to the downside, right? But that daily resistance level there also coming in line. So I'm with you on that for sure. Any questions on this dollar max? No? And I'm sorry to hear that, Ann. Glad they weren't able to get in. Security cameras definitely help. I hope everybody was okay. Hope there wasn't too much damage. All right. So that is the dollar max. Any questions on anything that we covered this morning? No? Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Great session as always. Just remain patient. Let's see what type of price action we can get for tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Patience. All right. Good people. Have a phenomenal Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this pre-New York session with my awesome partner, Mr. Ben Allen. Have an awesome day. Peace.
Thank you.
Welcome.